All right, y'all. So I got the information and I said that I was going to um, get and add to this message about the RAS system, which is an acronym for the reticular activation system. And the reticular activation system, or RAS, is a part of our brain that filters out irrelevant information, what we deem to be irrelevant, and will help us to focus on what we think is important. So if we are pessimistic by nature, then our RAS is going to filter out all the positive things so that we can focus only on the negative. It really is a way, the RAS is supposed to be helping us. It's a way to help us to focus on certain things because we get stimuli from everything. We're bombarded with stimuli. And imagine if we didn't have this filtering system, it will overwhelm us. It would literally drive us crazy because it's just too much information at once. Everything that you hear. Imagine if you had to pay attention to everything that you hear. Like if every sound that you heard you were aware of, everything that you see, you're aware of everything around you, every sound, everything that is within your experience, you are consciously aware of it and you can't filter out anything. Like imagine if you was like in a crowd and you're hearing all the people talk at one time and you can't filter out the conversation that you're having with someone in this crowd. That would be like stressful. So our brain filters out these things so that we can focus on whatever we're focusing on. So if we are focusing on negative things, then our brain is going to filter out all the positive things. That's called negative bias. When we only focus on the negative stuff and not the positive stuff. And our brain, that part of our brain will also filter out, if we have limiting beliefs, then our brain is going to filter out any belief that contradicts those limiting beliefs. So that's why you have people that, no matter how much evidence you may be able to give somebody about a particular thing, they can't see it. Like they literally cannot see, even if it's like right in front of their face, they can't see it because the RAS is blocking that information out so that they can't receive it. They can't, because their brain is blocking out that information through confirmation bias. It's not allowing them to see anything that contradicts their beliefs. So our brains are very powerful in deluding us. And it's really a means of protection. Our brain doesn't know that what it's trying to protect us from is actually not benefiting us. And so we have to reprogram our brain so that the RAS will work for us instead of against us. And that's how you change your mindset. You have to train the RAS to focus on the positive instead of the negative. You have to work on changing your limiting beliefs. And this takes work. It is not easy. It's not something that, you just do in one day and all of a sudden your brain just automatically is going to think positively now. No, it takes time. And you have to be dedicated in doing the work. You know what I'm saying? But once your brain has been reprogrammed to think this way, now the RAS is going to work in your favor. Now the RAS is going to search for all the positives in the situation rather than the negatives. Now you're going to be able to see things from a higher perspective, from a more positive perspective, because now your brain isn't filtering out all the positive stuff. It's not blocking that information from you. Now you're able to see the possibilities and the positive aspects of a situation, And it's really helpful to understand how the brain works, because it helps you to understand how you work, and then you can change things like, oh, this is why I think this way. This is what, it's your brain working against you. So if your brain is working against you, you can change that shit and be like, we not fitting to do that no more. We about to do something new. We about to change the way that we think here. Because my brain is sabotaging me and causing me to think all of this stuff that it really isn't true. So now I'm about to change this. I'm about to tell my brain to focus on the positive. I'm about to tell my brain to focus on the good things. You know what I'm saying? That's how we change our mindset. That's how we do the mind alchemy. That's how we do it. Like I was saying before, our brain is really not trying to harm us. It's just trying to protect us. And it really doesn't know any better. It is trying to keep us from, it helps us to remember the bad stuff, to prevent those things from happening again, because it doesn't see bad things from a higher perspective. Like, okay, these things, we can learn from these experiences. It's not saying it that way. It's like, okay, we need to avoid all bad stuff, so it's going to help you to remember. That's why, like, it's not even really the pessimists that have this problem. Like, just humanity in general, because that's the way our brains are wired. Our brains are wired to have this negative bias because, in the past, back in the day, people had harder lives. You know what I'm saying? There were bigger threats going on, when you were living out in environments that um, required you to look out for your safety. You had, you know, like the elements and stuff. Like people who may have lived in harsher environments. You know, they had weather conditions that they had to protect themselves from. You know, they didn't have like the houses that we have now. You had wild animals, like people who, you know, living out in certain areas back in the day where it was like wild animals out there. You know what I'm saying? And they had to protect themselves from that. It was like all of this shit that we don't really have to deal with now, that our ancestors had to deal with. You know, threats and you know, different situations that were life-threatening. And these individuals were living in, I don't know, I'm not going to say constant state of fear, but maybe most of the time they were, you know, stressed and in fear. And so the brain had to, in order to protect them, the brain had to help, you know, them to become more aware of threats. And so it became focused on negative things in a means to protect, you know, them from danger. Like you had to be focused. Like if you got wild animals out, you know, that could at any moment attack you, you know, you got to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be focused on that kind of stuff. You got to be focused on, you know, survival pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So because you got to be focused on survival, the brain was wired to focus on surviving, focus on threats, focus on all the negative things to look out for. You know what I'm saying? But now we don't have those same type of living conditions, but our brains are still wired that way. And so we just naturally as humans have this negative bias. You know what I'm saying? And we have to retrain the brain, rewire the brain to be more positive. Because we're no longer, you know, we don't have to be in survival mode anymore, which is a blessing for many of us. And so our brain has to be trained to think differently. You know, that it doesn't have to protect us in that way anymore, like it used to. And we have to be mindful of that. Can help us to reprogram our brain, and it can help us to understand like why we're thinking the way that we're thinking. Like, oh, this is some, you know, stuff from back in the day. Like the brain really hasn't evolved with the times. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that, we can, you know, have a better view of ourselves and the way that we think and why we think the way that we think. You know, and then make those changes. Because some of us may think, oh, well, this is just how it is. Like, no, it doesn't have to be. You have the power to change this. This is why you're thinking this way. And, you know, it's just that, like, people who have this victim mentality, or stuck in that negative bias. You know what I'm saying? They're stuck in, that confirmation bias way of thinking. Whereas the growth mindset people, they've learned to help their brains evolve by programming it to think differently, to focus on the positive things, to see things from a different and higher perspective, that these so-called negative things or bad things are opportunities for growth and expansion. They're opportunities for me to learn, in this school of life, and to become a better person. See, that when you get your brain to think that, oh my God, like you're gonna be a master, in this game of life. You're going to be successful in your endeavors. You're going to be successful in the maturity and growth of yourself through having that mindset. Because now your brain is not seeing things, in a negative perspective. It's seeing the negative as a positive thing. Like, oh, we can learn from this. So now it's like looking for the lessons. Instead of seeing things from a victim mentality, it's now looking for the lessons that can be learned from the experience. It's looking for the positive things that can be the positive things that you can see from the experience. It's going to help you to see things from a more growth mindset. So I just wanted to mention, about the RAS, because I feel like understanding how your brain works can really help you to change it. That it is within your power to change. You don't have to be stuck in a particular mindset, in a particular way of being. You have the power within yourself to change yourself if you so desire. And the key to change is necessity. Not just wanting it, but needing it. When you are tired of being tired and you're at a point where things must change, then you're going to do what you need to do, even if it's outside of your comfort zone, because it's no longer a want, it's a need. Just like if you need water, you go a few days without water and see what happens. You ain't gonna be here. Your ass is not gonna be here, because we need water, and when it becomes, when the desire for change becomes a need, then there's no more excuses. You're gonna do what you need to do. But anyway, I just wanted to share that part, and hopefully understand and look it up. Read more on RAS, and read more up on the brain. It's really interesting to that's something that I'm going to be doing more reading on, is understanding the mind and how the mind works, because then you can control your mind better when you understand how it works. You can take control over your mind instead of allowing your mind to take control over you. You can understand why you think the way that you think. And then you can change it. Because your mind is like a computer. It's just running on a program. You know what I'm saying? A program based on experiences, past experiences that, it stores information that it feels is important to help you survive. And it really does not, it really doesn't have the awareness of what's right or wrong. It's just what it feels is going to help you to live. What it feels is going to be positive for you, even if it's destructive. Like, that's how people get addicted to drugs. You know what I'm saying? Your brain, that dopamine that comes through these experiences that feel good, that might not be necessarily good for you. The brain isn't thinking, oh, well, these drugs are going to destroy this person, so I need to, as a means of survival, I need to make this, I need to filter out, the positive feeling that this person is getting from it. No, it's like, okay, this feels good. We need more of this. So your brain is telling you need more of that good feeling, which makes you want the drugs more, or the food more, or whatever it is, the sex more, whatever it is that, the alcohol more, whatever it is that you are getting that positive, feedback from your brain on, that feeling, that dopamine burst that you're getting. Your brain is like, okay, this feels good. We need more of this. And so that's how you get addicted. You know what I'm saying? It's like your brain is master over you. Your brain is our brains tell us everything. It basically tells our bodies what to do. It even tells us what we're experiencing. It tells us what we're looking at. That's a tree. That's this. That's that. It tells us what, to focus on, what not to focus on. But it's all a program. All of this comes from our experiences, and it just stores information, and it doesn't always store positive information. It doesn't always store information that is really going to benefit us. It stores information mainly information that it thinks is going to help us to survive. That's how it thinks. Like, all right, well, this experience doesn't feel good, so we don't need to be focusing on this experience again. We need to avoid it, even though that experience could be something that's really beneficial, like going to the gym. Somebody might be wanting to work out and wanting to, get more tone or whatever. They go to the gym, and then they're sore the next day, and your brain is like, oh, this doesn't feel good, so we shouldn't go to the gym anymore. Even though going to the gym, they say no pain, no gain. Go to the gym. And I'm just using this as an example because I don't like going to the gym. I don't like going to the gym. My brain telling me, no, we don't need to go there because it's uncomfortable there. But I'm gonna use this information for me too, because I know my brain is telling me stuff that it doesn't want me to do to try to protect me. But I need to, after this message, have a talk with my brain, have a conversation with my RAS system, and set some things straight so I can, do the things that I need to do. But anyway, yeah, it's trying to protect us, and it doesn't know right from wrong. It just knows this feels good, this doesn't feel good. So we want more of what feels good. We don't want to have experiences of going outside of our comfort zone, because going outside of our comfort zone could be dangerous. It could cause us to feel bad. Like, it doesn't understand that, those uncomfortable feelings aren't going to kill us. You know what I mean? It's just a part of growth. It's growing pains. That's it. So we have to take control of our brains and stop letting our brains take control of us. So, anybody that's interested, read up on the RAS. It's interesting. And read up on your brain. Find out how your brain works. And maybe understanding how your brain works will help you to understand yourself better, and will cause you to desire to take control over your mind, and stop letting your mind run on autopilot. All right, so yeah, that's all I wanted to add to the message as far as the RAS is concerned.